After I posted the video of the revelation of the seventh seal last time, a few people gave their opinions on how the seventh seal could be opened when the sixth seal has not yet been opened. And so, I would like to share about this point. Because everyone has different interpretations about the seven seals, I believe that if we share our realizations with each other, it can help to prepare for the coming of the Lord. Even if not, I believe it can be a reference for each other when interpreting the sixth seal. First, the events that appear in the sixth seal pretty much contain the image of disaster. Also, because of the expression that people who wear white robes have come out of great tribulation, there are many people who see this as the great tribulation and the rapture taking place in the sixth seal. However, if they look at it that way, a problem occurs in the timeline of the great tribulation. Because the seventh seal is the time where there is silence in heaven for about half an hour, it is saying that the great tribulation will happen before and after this time. Which is saying that the great tribulation starts in the sixth seal and the rapture occurs while in the tribulation, and then when the seventh seal is opened, suddenly the great tribulation stops, and afterwards, as silence in heaven is retained for about half an hour, then the trumpet disasters start, and it enters back into the Great Tribulation again. But this is difficult to look at as the timeline of the Great Tribulation. I don't see the Great Tribulation going by this kind of pattern where it occurs, stops, and occurs again. The seventh seal is a time where there is silence in heaven for about half an hour, which reveals that it is not the circumstance of the Great Tribulation. Moreover, the seven trumpets which will blow at the time of the trumpet disasters are also prepared in this seventh seal. This means that the seventh seal itself clearly reveals that it does not belong to the Great Tribulation. Saying that the Great Tribulation starts in the sixth seal, even though it does not exist in the seventh seal, is like forcing the seven seals to fit into the puzzle of the Great Tribulation, made up of the seven trumpets and bowls. The seven seals are not a puzzle piece that belongs to the Great Tribulation, but should be seen as another puzzle of its own, as a preparation time for the Great Tribulation. That is why the characteristic of the seven seals is different from the trumpets and bowls. When the trumpets and bowls pour certain disasters, the events depicted in the Bible immediately become fulfilled. However, the seven seals are the time for preparing for the Great Tribulation, so whenever a seal is opened, some things start to actively happen or are specifically revealed, going toward the maximum occurrences written in the seal. Which means that the characteristic of the seven seals is a progressive form. So, the closer to the Great Tribulation, all the circumstances change rapidly, and the strength of the disaster gets stronger and stronger. Because of this, the maximum form will be fulfilled at the point when the seven seals end. However, the Lord's brides will be raptured before the end of these seals, so I believe that we cannot experience the maximum effects. However, we can experience the effects that are less in strength, and we are now actually seeing and experiencing those signs that are in the seven seals. For that example, let's look at the third seal, and through this, we will look at the sixth seal. Revelation chapter 6, verses 5 through 6. And when he broke the third seal, I heard the third living creature saying, "Come." And I looked, and behold a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard as it were a voice in the center of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." When the third seal is opened, we can see that the prices have greatly risen. A denarius here indicates a day's worth of wage, and a quart of wheat is 2 pounds. This is an equal amount to 4 cups of 8-ounce coffee. However, you can only buy a quart of wheat with the money you earned by working hard all day long. This is referring to food shortage, and it also means the world economy is in a state that is completely collapsed and paralyzed. Then, the question here is, presently, is the price of a quart of wheat the wage of a whole day? No, it is not. Right now, the prices are rapidly increasing, and they will keep on rising, but the prices will not reach that amount until the rapture happens. Because it is written that it will be like the time of Noah and Lot before the destruction comes upon the world. If the prices are so expensive like that before the rapture, no one can eat, drink, marry and give in marriage, buy and sell, build houses like the time of Noah and Lot. Therefore, the maximum intensity of the occurrences that are talked about in the third seal, which is the price of a quart of wheat being a day's wage, will be reached at the point where the seventh seal is ending, after the rapture occurs. And currently, even though the price of a quart of wheat is not a day's wage, many people believe that the third seal is already opened. The reason is because as they are currently seeing the prices continue to rise, they are certain that not too long from now, it will reach the maximum price mentioned in the third seal. The point is that you must also look at the signs that appear from the sixth seal with this same characteristic and point of view. That way, you will not get confused with the signs of the Great Tribulation. So then, by this kind of characteristic and point of view, we will see proof that the sixth seal has already been opened through the four signs that appear in the sixth seal. First, let us see Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. The signs that are talked about in this verse, with the sun becoming black as sackcloth of hair and the moon becoming entirely as blood, are the total solar and lunar eclipses that we are currently seeing. However, what is so special about this that the sixth seal expresses it as if it is some kind of great sign? It is because it signifies the fulfillment of Joel chapter 2, verse 31. Joel 2, verse 31. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. The signs of the sun and moon talked about in the book of Joel is a very important sign for announcing the day of the Lord. And as this sign manifests at last when the sixth seal is opened, it reveals that the word of this prophecy is fulfilled. As mentioned earlier, the problem is that these total solar and lunar eclipses have been around from long ago, so then why is the occurrence appearing in the sixth seal only considered the sign for the Lord's Day talked about in the book of Joel? What is the difference between the occurrences of the sun and moon that show in this time and the time before that makes it seen as the fulfillment of that prophecy, and with what standard was it distinguished in that way? When I was meditating on this part, the revelation that the Lord gave me was that, in the past, only the professionals were able to see these kinds of occurrences, but now all people can watch these things simultaneously through the smartphone, and this is the standard that distinguishes this as that sign and is the key point. Actually, these days, whenever there is a solar eclipse and lunar eclipse happening, the media and YouTube broadcast it live, and because of that, all people are able to easily and comfortably watch this through the smartphones in their homes. This signifies that we are living that much in a high technologically developed culture. This indicates that this is a generation that has completed all technology that can control and destroy mankind. This is the real meaning of the sign talked about in Joel chapter 2, verse 31, and through this sign it reveals that the full control system of the Antichrist has been completely prepared in the sixth seal. And if these signs of the sun and moon are the results of fulfillment due to the smartphone, then we can approximately see the time of when the sixth seal was opened as the time of when this smartphone became generalized. If we roughly calculate that time, it is about 9 to 10 years ago. At that time, smartphones became common among all people. Adults, of course, and even up to young children, started to become addicted to the internet with these. Not only that, grandmothers and grandfathers who don't know the internet at all started to encounter the internet world through the smartphone since then, and the whole world transitioned to the era of smartphones from regular cell phones. And now, because economic, social, financial, and cultural activities are connected to the internet, smartphones are an indispensable part of life for all people. Because it has become this kind of high-tech internet generation, as soon as the sixth seal was opened, it quoted the book of Joel to reveal that it has become the time where at last everyone can see the total solar and lunar eclipses. This is a very big sign that shows that the day of the Lord will soon happen. So from this point on, the day of the Lord has actively entered into a countdown. Therefore, all the signs of the sky and disasters that appear in the sixth seal are signs that count down the day of the Lord, so we need to watch more in vigilance. And the fact that we are presently observing those signs on the internet every day proves that the sixth seal has already been opened. The second is Revelation chapter 6, verse 13. Revelation chapter 6, verse 13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Here, the stars of heaven shaking and falling to the earth can be seen as meteorites, meteors, and asteroids. This past March also, an asteroid the size of a refrigerator fell to Norway, and on April 2nd, a meteor fell to India. And NASA and Elon Musk were warning that big asteroids will hit Earth in 2022. They say that one of them that will hit the Earth in May will be a large asteroid the size of a pyramid. They say if that were to happen, it could cause an explosion 15 times more powerful than the atomic bomb that destroyed the entire city of Hiroshima in 1945. Not only that, they say that the impact could cause a tsunami and nuclear winter. But of course, effects to this level of strength will not happen before the rapture. Anyway, nowadays, there are frequent news about meteorites and asteroids that threaten the Earth. This proves that the sixth seal has already been opened, and is also saying that the Great Tribulation is that much nearer. The third is Revelation chapter 6, verse 14. Revelation chapter 6, verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island removed out of their places. Because of the words here that say that every mountain and island will be removed from its place, there are many people that believe that the sixth seal has not yet been opened. But please look at the whole world right now. In some places, a mountain has collapsed, and that mountain and the village below it has disappeared overnight. And due to a tsunami, one town is completely wiped out by water. And through wildfires, many regions have been burned to ashes. Currently, these disasters are worldwide, and that intensity is getting stronger and stronger. These are the signs that the mountain was moved out of their places. The problem is that these kinds of disasters are not natural, but artificial. If you look at the Illuminati cards, the incidents and disasters to come are drawn, and when a certain time comes, things start happening as depicted on the card. How could they know the things that will happen in the future and draw in the cards? It is possible because they planned these things intentionally. And they confidently made those kinds of cards and are making it known because they have the technology to cause disasters to that extent. The lightning that you are seeing now is such a small example to explain that kind of technology, but please take a look. I recorded this by phone. Normally, there is lightning when it rains. That is why people generally think that it's very obvious that when it rains, lightning will happen, or when lightning starts to flash, rain will fall. And people will think that it's not easy to take a photo or video of this because they don't know when or where lightning will happen. However, the lightning I took was easy to take because it was flashing in the same spot for more than 1 hour without rest, without even rain coming. Even after an hour, it wouldn't stop, so I had to just give up and go home. This is not a natural phenomenon at all. When I was looking at this lightning and thinking that this was an abnormal happening, the Lord told me inside of my heart that this is the phenomenon mentioned in the sixth seal, where heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Because the dark forces already have the high technology to control the sky, they shake the sky with that technology, and they stimulate not only abnormal lightning, but the ocean and land, and make all kinds of disasters. That is why the mountain collapses and vanishes overnight, and a village disappears, a town turns to ashes, and a whole city becomes broken into pieces due to being wiped up by tsunami, and is removed to other places. These are the effects of what the sixth seal mentioned, where every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And these phenomena occur because someone opens and rolls the sky whenever they want, as if rolling a scroll. Therefore, when we see the disasters that are increasing and getting stronger worldwide, we can know that the sixth seal has already been opened. The fourth is Revelation chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. Revelation chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? This word is about the kings and all people of the earth who realize the day of the wrath has come, and hide in the dens and rocks and shout for themselves to be covered from the day of the wrath. The den in here can be interpreted as an underground bunker. In actuality, from long ago, the rich people of the earth had already made underground bunkers and bought and sold these for the day of the wrath. Most underground bunkers have been built where it is geographically safe for when earthquakes or nuclear wars happen, and built in a perfect zone where there is complete telecommunication systems. The underground bunkers, which have been gaining popularity since the pandemic, have now become more known to people and very popular due to the war in Russia and Ukraine. That is why, even though the price is so expensive, people who are buying these are increasing. They are preparing to go through the Great Tribulation, and we are preparing for the rapture. Not long from now, after the Lord's brides are raptured, many people will finally realize at that time that the day of the wrath has come. At that time, the kings and rich people will hide in the underground bunkers, which is in the caves, and the people who do not have the dens will hide in the rocks, and they will cry out with great fear and trembling hearts to cover them from the wrath. We may not see the maximum stage of them hiding and crying out in fear, but currently, as we see the underground bunkers being built and purchased, we can know that the sixth seal has already been opened. In conclusion, through the reasons and evidences that I have talked about until now, it can be known that the sixth seal is not the Great Tribulation, and that it has already been opened. The most important thing is that the sixth seal is the fulfillment of the book of Joel. The fact that all people can see the sun become black and the moon become as blood due to high technology makes this a sign of that. That is why, from that time, the day of the Lord actively entered into a countdown. Because of this, the stronger and stronger the occurrences are getting that appear in the sixth seal, it becomes a sign that the great and terrible day of the Lord is that much closer. The great and terrible day here is talking about the rapture and the Great Tribulation. The word great indicates a great day, and this being a really great day refers to the rapture. And terrible day is a frightening and horrible day, which refers to the Great Tribulation. Also, in the order of words here, great day is written before terrible day, because the rapture takes place first, and then the Great Tribulation happens after that. Anyway, the sixth seal is a very important revelation that shows fulfillment of the book of Joel, and since then the countdown has started, and now with the state of the seventh seal being opened, that countdown will soon end. And the rapture will occur, followed by the terrible and dreadful Great Tribulation, but whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. That is right, the one who calls upon the name of the Lord will escape the day of wrath. That is the rapture. And among those who have been left behind, whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved during the Great Tribulation. However, we must not be those who enter the day of wrath and call on the name of the Lord, but must be the 5 wise virgins who call on the name of the Lord now and escape the Great Tribulation. Therefore, from now on, remember every day that we are in a time where we do not know when the Lord will come, and be awake with all your strength through the word and prayer, with watching carefully all the signs. Repent moment by moment, and maintain a holy life congruent with your repentance, and give living worship that fellowships deeply with the Lord through thanksgiving and praise all day long. So, I pray that on the day of the Lord's coming, everyone will be the 5 wise virgins who escape the day of wrath and enter into the wedding feast. Jesus is coming soon.